Welcome to Bridge the Gap, a show where we aim to build a bridge of understanding between opposing views. Each episode, you'll see our participants sit down to discuss some thought-provoking statements.
It is my duty to explain racism to those who do not understand it.
If they disagree with the statement, they'll leave their seat and allow those that agree to explain themselves.
I feel like there's just generally there's people that are from different backgrounds, different upbringing, that they don't understand a lot of things.
Those that disagree then return and express themselves to the rest of the group, hopefully building a bridge of understanding.
But is it your duty? That's the word. That's the word that was really
It's not your job.
Let's see what happens.
I know what gives me joy.
What gives you joy, Remy?
Well, I'd say music, you know. My name is Remy Bergs. I'm a radio presenter. I'm a MC/host. I'm also a A&R at 0207 Def Jam.
Music.
Yeah, like music, my family, my friends.
Yeah, like whatever you enjoy doing, I think everyone knows that. But at the same time, I was a bit half-hearted because I feel like you don't know as well what you could come across that could potentially give you joy. My name is Bashir Aziz. I'm 26. Wow, I'm 27, Lord. 27 from South London. I'm an artist, or all-round artist. I dibble-dabble. My joy right now is music or arts as a whole. There could be a time in my life, I don't know, like I'm like doing this where I could find something else that I don't see important now, like gardening, for example. Yeah, I think that I could enjoy that later on, but I don't enjoy it now.
I agree, because my name is Ray and I am a rapper/singer and songwriter who goes by the name RAE, which stands for Rising Above Everything. I love music and being around my friends and stuff, but like, for example, in the past, like Sims used to be something that I absolutely loved, and now I don't really like it. And I've picked up skating, which I absolutely love, and that gives me joy.
I think that's the key thing, as you grow up or you encounter different things in life, you kind of learn, okay, this makes me happy, this doesn't make me happy. My name's Pappy Abs, 1 out of 6 of Area Boys, NSG, the Waivers Collective in the world. For me, I've come to understanding that my family, music, they generally bring me joy. Understanding that just makes me value that, and like, I know you guys bring me joy, so spending the weekend with you guys and whatnot.
Like you said, I think joy is fluid, so it can always take on different forms. My name is Yahil Kamara Nono. I am a musician, a nice guy. I'd like to think I'm a bit of an activist, and yeah. Like you said, in our current state now, music brings me joy, my family brings me joy, my culture brings me joy, and that can always change. But understanding that it can change and there's opportunities for new things to provide joy to my life is joyous in itself.
That's beautiful.
I feel like, especially during the pandemic, like, it's very good for you to know what brought you joy. You kind of had to entertain yourself. So,
Yeah.
You know what, that was a very trying period.
it was a very trying.
You know, you had to try new things to understand, okay, this works, this doesn't work. We had time.
And I'm sure there was periods where you were doing stuff that you would enjoy and go, oh yeah, this brings me joy, but at the same time, you're doing it every day, or
It becomes monotonous.
It becomes, exactly.
Yeah.
It becomes monotonous.
Don't like it.
People didn't even stay in their job. They realized, I don't like this job. And then they,
Or marriage.
changed, or marriage. Wow, yeah, that's enough.
Some people realize
my
that
God.
you didn't have to be in the office doing what you was doing. You could do what you're doing from home.
Home, yeah.
And that brought them joy.
That brought them joy.
Yeah,
Knowing the bed is near, you know.
literally.
Enter. Talk to us.
I mean, I think, and this is from a very personal perspective, I feel like I understand what makes me happy most days. My name's Shanice, but everyone calls me Shani. I'm from Birmingham. I work in advertising. I am also a lecturer, and I love dance, so I'm also a trained dancer. And I also understand the things I enjoy. But then when I think about joy, I think of joy as like quite an eternal, joyous, deep feeling, which I kind of feel like I'm still on a discovery of what is that? Because I think there's things that make me happy very temporarily, like work. Sometimes I love work, and then sometimes I'm like, is this really bringing me joy. Do you know what I mean? Like, it makes me happy some days, it makes me happy most days, like not some days.
So what, do you think we could actually find eternal joy, as in be joyous forever?
I'd like to think so. I like to think so, and I feel like that's the journey I consider myself to be on, like, to really build a life where I can truly say, yeah, I'm in a place of joy, like eternal joy.
Over the last 18 months, my mental health has been negatively impacted.
What, does that count? Like half?
Yeah, it's hard.
Buzz.
What are you saying?
You know, like when you have like goals in life and you haven't really reached it, or you haven't, I don't know, I'm not like hitting the steps that I want you to get to this goal. It's really impacted my mental health.
The third like lockdown was like, come on, mate, like seriously, kind of thing. And it was like, you know, all the plans that you had for the year, I had to rejig it, or I had to find another way to achieve it. So I think that was a bit of a Debbie Downer, I would say, on my mental health. And there was just a lot of reflection for myself, and also for like the things that were happening around me. So, but I would say like one of the biggest influences towards that was actually social media.
I think I can really relate to what both of you are saying. Being black, it was not easy. Not that it's easy every other day, but I think the fact that we were in our homes and you couldn't run off to work and pigeonhole it and deal with it later. You couldn't just put it to one side anymore. And the fact that what happened to George Floyd, what happened to Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery as well, because it was so magnified, and the fact that everyone was sitting at home looking at it and having a very intimate look into your own trauma as well, I think that for me sent me left. I think there was one day when I was coming out my house and just in front of my front door, someone walked past me and said, oh, look, here comes the and she was like a drunk. Like, it's not an excuse, don't excuse nothing. But normally, if I'd seen something like that, yes, I would have been pissed off. But I've had so much other things to get on with my day. As black people, you all know, you just have to get on with it, as much as it stresses you out. But this time, I was in my house. I had nothing else to do. I was just going for a walk. I was like, why the hell are you talking to me like that? What? I was angry to the point that I was not sleeping. I was so, because I just had that space to actually just have to actually face it. And just watching so many things reel off, and like a lot of you I'm sure will agree that these things have been happening, but the fact that we have social media and cameras and everyone's putting murals of this man's face and showing the videos of black bodies in the street, which I think is something that needs to be censored, is on my mind. There's times when I had to just come off, I had to just come offline because it was a lot.
Okay, I'm gonna get the disagrees to come back with you.
Hey guys.
Oh, go on.
Long time no see.
Why don't we agree? What's wrong?
Over the last 18 months, a whole lot has gone on. And I consider myself a very, very strong person mentally. So when the lockdown happened, first it was like almost like a rumor sort of thing, like with big belief. Like, I don't know, like when you're 10 years old and you're reading about New World Order and you're like, oh yeah, you know what, like it's about to happen, and then 10 years later it happens. So like this whole lockdown thing for me was like that. So I saw, I don't know, it started a bit and then it actually got into fruition where everyone has to, you know, stay in the house and whatnot. And then you're hearing, I don't know, lots of things. And then, I don't know, there's just layers upon layers upon layers of things that's happened in the past 18 months that have definitely affected me negatively. But that's not to say that I didn't come back stronger with a better mentality about the whole thing. I became mentally strong by reading a lot of books, personal development books, realizing in this life you got one chance and just to grab it like this and to do everything that you enjoy. Ultimately, I wanted to love myself more and respect myself more and be a stronger thinker. And once I did those things, once I started showing myself more respect, more love, more this, it radiated and came back. So obviously now I'm positive, as I was pre-18 months ago, even more positive than that. But in that time, I don't know. I think I've always wondered like what anxiety was like and depression was like. I feel I hit that for a bit.
I have seen a therapist/counsellor before.
Just us.
Just us.
Yeah, so I invested in a life coach this year properly, and that was out of like trial and error. Therapy didn't really work for me in that sense, so a life coach I find was better for me and gave me more accountability for what I was like working through and still working through.
I had therapy during the pandemic, and it was different, like in terms of.
Or virtual?
No, it actually wasn't. It was.
In person?
It was in person. I think for me, I needed to have therapy. I needed to experience it so I could also go forward and actually be an advocate for it properly.
Yes.
'Cause at that point, I was saying, yeah, therapy's great, but I hadn't even done it
Yeah,
myself.
but you hadn't done it yet.
You know what I'm saying? So I did it, and I feel like I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've learned so much about myself.
About yourself.
And I literally apply the things that I've like learned about myself to my life right now. I was very lucky for my therapy to be paid for by a charity called the Black LGBT Therapy Fund, which is run by Ro Frimpong. And yeah, like, so they funded a couple sessions. There's therapy like funding out there, but I'm just blessed that was put in front of me.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very hard to find, and like they're kind of like creating a black therapy. There's a black therapy like website where you can actually go and find.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. I don't know the name, and actually, to be honest, I found my life coach on Instagram, and it was literally just a repost as somebody recommended people to follow, like, you know, like affirmations and stuff. And I had found her and just inquired. But actually, I think on Twitter, that's where I see a lot of stuff. And I actually saw that what Road started. And there's through different organisations. Liv from Galdem is always sharing stuff. I've seen her share a couple of stuff. I'm a part of a network called the Freelance Queens, and they always share different things. There are a lot of people that want to be, for example, I want a black woman as a therapist so that there's a relatability there, or I want someone of the LGBTQ community so that I can talk in a safe space, like all them things, because biases do exist. So I think if you can kind of put out there exactly what you want, or even just test it, I feel like there's a community.
I think you should definitely ask and be specific with what you want as well, and someone will always direct you in the right
absolutely.
direction.
Thank you. I've never seen a therapist for a life coach, but you guys make it sound like something I should do. But I find therapy in other forms. I find a lot of things therapeutic, so I see that's therapy, you know? Music, writing down my thoughts. My notes is full of amazing words. I'm blessed to be in a group, so it's like I'm able to speak to these people and they relate as well, because we're going through like no shows and whatnot, we're experiencing it together.
It is my duty to explain racism to those who do not understand it.
Wait, as in...
It's my duty. No, it's not. Oh.
You know, I'll allow them. I'll allow them. Listen,
I feel I do
agree, like to tell them and school them in it.
Because like for example, like I remember at uni, when I was at uni, there was this guy who's like lived in an area where he's never like seen a black person before, and everything he's seen is just white people. So it's like for him, his perception of black people is what he's seen on TV. And when he met us, he was like, oh, you're not like what I saw on TV. And it's like people like him who are kind of just, I'll say, oblivious to what's around him. Like, I feel like you need to educate people
you're right.
like that.
And I feel like that's why I'm still sitting on here, because I feel like there's just genuinely there's people that are from different backgrounds, different upbringing, that they don't understand a lot of things, and they haven't even tried to learn, or it's just what's been put to them or what's been given to them. I'm sitting down for those people that are from like different
Yeah,
upbringing.
that's why I sat down.
Yeah.
If it wasn't that, I wouldn't be sitting down
for you.
because they should know.
100%.
But is it your duty? That's the word. That's the word that was really
It's not your job.
It's not my duty,
No, it's
but
not,
it's
but
also something I
it
care
is.
about where
It's
I feel
not.
like I'm the type of person like, I feel like if I don't know something, don't bash me about it or whatever. Just, you know, there's a way you have to tell me for me to learn and understand. It's not your duty, but if you care about going forward.
It's not my duty to be like, yeah, you know what, you should act normal because I'm different colour.
I'll give you an example. I had a friend in secondary school,
Yeah.
That he's white, and what he's grown up around white people, and there's certain just words that they'll say to refer to black people, and that was a norm for him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when he said it to me, I was like, no, you don't say that. You know what I mean? You can't
Yeah.
say that in this type of. It's just that alone. It's
Yeah.
not my duty, but I mentioned it to him and he never said it again. I
Yeah,
feel like
that's calm.
That's how
But
I
it's not
see
my
it.
duty. It's not like every day I have to be like, you know what, I'm a teacher today. Because duty screams I have to suit and
Wear it
tie,
on my-
briefcase. Right, you don't understand. This is what it is.
Yeah.
This. Like, I'm not going to walk around doing that. I'm going to walk around living life.
The workplace puts restrictions on my blackness.
Right. So generally, obviously, it's no secret where you have to work 3 times, 4 times as hard to achieve this and this. Even from applications, from what your name looks like to this. If your name looks anything ethnic and they're not about it, gone. I don't know. You could work the same hours, same role as someone who's not black, and they often get the promotion or they often get further than you, or, you know, it's just like more hardworking. That's what I've experienced. I feel like that's always going to be the trap unless you do your own thing.
I think generally speaking, the workplace
Yeah.
can limit like your blackness. I think leading up to the jobs that I have now, I'd say prior to the jobs that I have now, my blackness was dumbed down, or it wasn't necessarily encouraged in a sense. So I think generally speaking, yeah, like there's things in place that don't allow you to be, it will be described as being boisterous or, you know, like obnoxious if you stand up for yourself. Like, do you know what I mean? Like this.
Aggressive.
Or urban.
As a musician that tours regularly, performs at different venues, I personally feel that I'm not at the stage where myself as an artist or a band or whatever is at the level where we're not like a Beyonce, where you're Beyonce. You've reached another level where you're Beyonce. Your blackness is secondary to you being Beyonce. People love you because you're Beyonce. Do you know what I mean? The first thing that some people see, especially when they see black men, is intimidation. You know,
Do you belong here?
you know, exactly. And though you're there for something, people are always watching in any workspace.
Can I bring the rest in?
Putting stuff on YouTube, I feel like YouTube is a space in itself where it allows you to be you. And obviously, I put a lot of music on YouTube, a lot of just lifestyle stuff. And it's like there's no limits to, okay, you're allowed to put this, but I put my lifestyle, my music, and there's platforms on YouTube like the GRMs, the Link Up TVs, all these platforms that just share similar music to what I'm doing, the Afro vibes or whatever. It's like, be yourself.
Black spaces are key to experiencing black joy.
It's amazing when I see people like me, man, in certain environments. Like these days, I go to it was at Wireless recently, and backstage was just full of bare people, like, you know what I mean? It's like, yo, the brothers, the sisters, you know what I mean? I'm like, this is, and I just felt like, because we've done Wireless a few times, and I'll take it back to our very first time. So I saw the Post Malones, it was lit, but now this time it was like, there's more people, my brothers, my sisters there, and it just felt even better.
I feel like a great example is like stepping off the plane in Africa.
Yeesh.
And you just think, I'm home. Like nothing feels like out of place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing feels like even the heat that's banging your chest, you're just thinking, I thank you.
Oh,
Like, you're thinking, you know, and you're walking through the airport and you're just seeing black, like, and you're just thinking, wow, like we exist and we exist loudly and we exist in numbers, and you know, like we're in a country where we're a minority, do you know, so we exist in numbers, and like, it's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me it was like when I started lecturing last year, and I introduced myself to my class, and I legit got emails and DMs from my students. Like it was such an amazing feeling for them to see someone like them in their 2-year, 3-year journey. And I was just like, wow, this is so needed. Like I get it, because in uni I didn't have any black lecturers at all. And I deeped it when they came to me, because I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. I didn't have any teachers that looked like me at all in my whole 3 years. So I can imagine what that might have felt like for them, do you know what I mean?
Black joy has one definition.
I don't think there's one definition. I feel like there's so many things that make up joy. For me, it just can't be just one thing. So like, yeah, like my family, I'm black, my family are black, they bring me joy. My friends bring me joy. You guys bring me joy.
I feel like black joy can't have one definition because there's so many elements to it. Some of us grew up in different areas, different cities, different towns, different countries, but we'll still find a way to be one.
I think there's not one definition for black joy. We're not a monolith. The wants of black people in the LGBTQ community, LGBTQ plus community, are maybe different from those of us that are heterosexual and don't have to go through what they go through on a daily. The wants of black women are going to be different from the wants of black men, and what that joy looks like may differ. The joys of, or what black people in Nigeria or Senegal or Kenya or Tanzania or South Africa may be different from their neighbors. And for us in the diaspora may be different as well. But I do think that for me, that central pillar that anchors all of it is coming as we are. The limitations that we spoke about in the workplace, the limitations when we step into a place, when you go to an airport, you step into a shop, those being shed from us. The fact that we have to expect to be treated a certain way, that being shed from it, to be totally free to be not black, if that makes sense, like to not have that burden or that title of blackness and just be seen as Shani or Abs. And that's who you see in front of you. And let's go back to what you said as well, that when I look at you, I see you, I don't see your blackness first. I think that in itself, and feeling that people understand that and do see that, I think that's joy.
Wakanda forever.